Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the brand new Czech Tier 7 heavy tank, the VZ-44-1. Now this is the first in the brand new heavy tank line. This is the first tank you're going to come across. The whole line is fantastic, it's a hell of a lot of fun to play, and you start off pretty well at the Tier 7. So what's this Tier 7 like? Well, this Tier 7 is fairly slow. It goes at 30 kilometers an hour, which is fairly slow. It does feel fairly slow. It's got armour that's fairly workable. It's the kind of armour where when you're facing against other Tier 7s, it can be alright with the upper plate. You can bounce the odd shot here and there if you angle enough. You can bounce. The turret can bounce a decent amount when you're against your own Tier 7s on flat, and if you're on hull down, you can bounce Tier 7s and Tier 8s pretty decently. But like most Tier 7 heavy tanks, as soon as you go against Tier 8s firing Prem or against Tier 9s, your armour becomes Swiss cheese. And you have to bear that in mind. It does become Swiss cheese, and you are slow, which can hamper you a lot in bottom tier matchups, but you do have a honking great gun. You have a 105mm gun with 206 standard pen on the AP, which is really good pen for a Tier 7, and 242 on the APCR, which is great. That penetration on this gun is fantastic, and it slaps with its 320 alpha. You really can trade quite effectively. You can do some significant damage to people, and that's one of the great things of the tank. When you start playing it and you start using this top gun, you will feel just how good the alpha is and how much it's nice to slap people like slapjacks for 319, you know? And you're doing that fairly consistently, and that is a very nice thing about the Tier 7 heavy, and it's one of the strengths of the tank really, is the actual gun and just how good it is. It is a little bit derpy though. Well, I say a little bit, it is very derpy. It's 0.44 accuracy on this gun, which, like I say, is derpy, and that is a bit of a pain. You just got to bear that in mind. You've got to make sure you fully aim your shots. But, you know, when you do get to keep this gun working and get these shots in, you do a significant amount of damage, and that is one of the wonderful things about it. So, what do I run as a crew on this VZ-44-1? Well, the same as I run on all the others. I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanics, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, and Off-Road Driving. Off-Road Driving just to help that mobility a little bit, help me get up to that top speed as much as I can, and then all the gun perks, because like I said, it's got 0.44 accuracy. The gun is tragically bad at times, and you really want to help it as much as you can with all the gun perks so that you can keep this DPM working over. Because the reload as well for 320 alpha, this reload you got on this gun is not that bad. I mean, 8.5 seconds at Tier 7 is pretty solid for 320 alpha, and it's really nice. It's not like you're spending a whole, like, 10 seconds firing or waiting to fire your gun. I mean, if you boost it with food, obviously you're getting even better. This tank, on the whole, was really fun to play, and it was a pretty nice grind. And to be honest, because it was a nice tank to play, it was actually made the grind fairly quick for me as well, which is great. In terms of equipment that I run on this tank, I also run rammer, vents, and optics, because I want to make the DPM as good as possible with the vents and the view range, because you only have 370 meters view range, so you can be a little bit blind. So obviously maxing that with optics and vents can be great, and that's what you want to do, just so you're not blind, so you don't get really outspotted that much. You can spot for yourself, that sort of stuff. If it ran vert stabs, that would be great, but it doesn't. So yeah, the vents also helps the gun accuracy a lot as well. Well, a little bit anyway. That's what you want to do. So on this first game, we're on Pearl River, and we've managed to take the middle and fight our way through. We're now assaulting this VZ-44-1 in front of us, and we're just going to try and keep working him over with the gun. We're up to 3k damage, which is really great for a Tier 7 so far. And I just want to get rid of this guy before I move on to get the Italian, because obviously that guy's going to start slapping shots in. And I'm just keeping my eye on that Italian, making sure he's not poking around enough to be able to shoot us, and hopefully I'm, you know, trying to be a bit of a deterrent. But he's not bothered about us and just keeps poking around. Well, he's completely safe from us, that's why he's doing it. And unfortunately shuts down our friend. We're going to go after him now, and it's like, well, Mr. P43 Tur, you're screwed. Goodbye. And we shut down that guy. We're down now up to 3.5k damage, 11 assisted. A whole 11 assisted. Whew. We have assisted some people in this game. Yes, we have. Yeah. Well, so now that we've cleared this flank, there's only a couple of places where they're going to be. Well, we knew there was someone heading down this 1-2 line. I'm thinking there's going to be someone attacking the artillery, right? They've got to be going for this arty. I want to cut them off and stop them doing that. As I'm going along, there's still a T-34-100 in their base, because, well, why not? And that means I'm going to miss out on him, because my teammates are all over the place where they can shoot him. But there's someone in the cap. It's like, someone in the cap, eh? Well, let's go see if we can spot them. We get spotted. The moment we get spotted, we immediately boost our view range with the food. So we basically press the food boost immediately, just so that we get the max amount of view range we can. That way, we can possibly try and spot it. We end up getting spotted again. It's like, oh, okay, what is it? Oh, it's this E25. Unfortunately, we missed the shot on the E25. We're on the move. We're always going to miss that shot. It's one of those things. If we hit that, that would have been a miracle. But, I mean, 6.0 accuracy does tend to lend itself to hitting those sorts of shots. But not for me that day, unfortunately. Now that E25 has been shut down by the GW Panther, it's now just the two tanks left. There's the Tiger and the Jackson. The Jackson's over there. We know exactly where the Jackson is because we spotted him first. And there's a Tiger left somewhere that, well, we have no idea. He's not been spotted for a long time. He's not been spotted in this entire time we've been going around searching for someone. So it's like, well, he's either going to be at ED1 or he's going to be somewhere around this cap. I'm going to keep making my way towards the Jackson because we know where the Jackson is. And if we spot and find that Tiger, absolutely brilliant, fantastic, great. So we're driving through, and it's like, oh, there's the Tiger. He was expecting me to come round the other way. Not today, sir. We shut him down, and now there's one tank left. We know where he is. We know where this Jackson is, and this poor Jackson is absolutely doomed. And we shut down the Jackson. And we finished the game with 3.9k damage, 468 assistance. Victory. We come top on the team. I say 3.9k, 4 kills. Ace Tanker, the high caliber. 1975 base XP. A really nice game for the VZ44-1. Kind of showed the capabilities of the gun, and when you get stuck in, you can keep this gun working over and over and over again, and it's really, really nice. I really like this little tier 7. Say little, it's fairly big, it's a heavy tank. I really like this tier 7. It was a hell of a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to playing it more and more as we go along. It's probably one that I will play a decent amount. Because tier 7 is one of those tiers, right, that it has a few gems that are a lot of fun to play. And there's quite a lot of variety being at tier 7 as well, because obviously you can go from seeing tier 5s and you're seeing all the old World War II stuff to, like, you know, to tier 9s where you're getting on towards the more Cold War stuff. And obviously in that period you're seeing all the tons of tier 7s, all the tons of tier 8s. Tier 7 is one of those that you just have so much variety, same as tier 8 is. And it's one of the reasons I love playing tier 8. It's just the variety of tanks you come against. You're not just coming against pure meta tanks all the time. You're coming against lots of different tanks. People doing grinds on this tank, on that tank, on this tank, on the billions of premiums that are out there. It's just a lot of fun to play. And this tank will stand up for itself pretty well. Like I say, you just got to bear in mind that obviously it is slow, so some games will go a little bit too quick for it. And that the armour is usable. But you have to bear in mind what you're facing. When you're going to face the tier 8s and the 9s, I mean, tier 8s with like 230 pen will destroy this armour, and that means anything higher than that as well will destroy this armour. But if you hold down and using the turret armour, it can be pretty decent, and it can be pretty usable. You can ricochet shots here and there. You just have to keep wiggling and keep moving. Don't just sit still on the ridgeline. Keep yourself moving and make yourself a hard target, and that way, because of the angles and stuff like that on turret, you might ricochet shots here and there, and that makes the armour as good as it possibly can be. And it's the same as when you're on the ridgeline, you might be exposing your upper and lower plate, or your upper plate more than anything. If you keep bobbling back and forth, more than likely you're going to ricochet shots off the upper plate. If it's really well angled, it's pretty decent. I don't know, in a load of the games that I played, it just seemed to ricochet a decent amount, which was always really nice. If I was flat on, or if I was having to face something that I was caught out in the open, they tended to pen you, because obviously the lower plate is garbage. And if they were slightly above you, they were butchering the upper plate, sorry. So you just have to bear in mind. So, we're on the second game, and we're on Nomon Han. It's back. Nomini Nom. Nomini Nom is back. And yeah, it's quite good to see it. It's looking very, very lush. And on Nomini Nom, we've pulled very, very aggressively. Because I've seen where our medium tanks were, I thought, you know what, I've got to go aggressive here. I want to push up to these rocks here, exactly where we are now. And that way we can start putting shots in, start spotting the people along this line as they are there. I mean, at the end of the day, we just beat their heavy tanks here, because their heavy tanks are probably fairly slow to get here. But now we're here, we've got some decent shots out. So we've got a shot at this KV3. I was about to say T150. It's actually the stock KV3. You can tell because he's got the T150 turret and gun. And unfortunately, that shell looked like it was going in, and it looked like it went straight through the outline. Again, it's that whole shell thing that I was talking about the other day, where it's really weird, where you watch the shell tracers look like they go straight through things, but it's probably actually them just missing. But on your screen, for some reason, the shell tracer just shows that it desync. That's on the shell desync. Looks like the shell goes straight through them, but it's actually desync, you know, because it's just one of those things. So we are getting shots at this Tiger 2. We've angled the Tiger 2 because we ended up tracking him in place, but he's now pulling back. So it's like, okay, we'll try and get a shot at this VZ-44-1. We get a nice shot into his side that sets him on fire. That is something you've got to be careful with, this tank, and all of the Czech heavy tanks, to be fair. Something that's happened to me. If they get shot in the back end, in the side, they seem to just get set on fire because that's where the engines are. And it's something you just got to bear in mind. You can get set on fire, and it can be fairly annoying. So yeah, if you take a shot in the back end, it's quite often going to set you on fire, and that's just not good. So that T-56 is coming into the middle of the map, and I was like, okay, I'll go try and get a shot into him. But unfortunately, we end up missing. And now we're just going to change up again. Ignore him, and we go for the Tiger 2. We get a nice shot into the Tiger 2's drive wheel and track him in place. That is one of the good things about this tank, like I say, with the Alpha and the Caliber. If you go for people's drive wheels, more often than not, you tend to take the tracks off first time, which is delightful. And it's definitely something that's really good. There's a lot of tanks where if you've got lower calibers, lower alpha, you won't track them first time, and that is a bit awkward at times, and you've got to shoot them once, maybe twice to, you know, get the shot in. So now we go for a shot on the T-34-1, and there's the derpy gun accuracy. It ends up tracking him on his... You saw, my aim was poor there, because we ended up going too far and going for his outside track, but we actually hit his inside track. That's just how derpy the gun decided to be. But we ended up missing him. Now we've got this VZ-44-1 that we got the shot into, and it's like, right, okay. I'm thinking, I want to progress. I want to move on. I know I've got a T-29 that's hull down on the right. He's gatekeeping. If I take a hit from him, maybe it doesn't matter, because that way I can get up behind the other guys. Fortunately enough, the T-29's actually running away to go look at the heavy tanks all behind him, and now is my time to move. And it's like, right, okay, I've got to go. I can't just stall. I'm stalling where I am. I don't want to stay there. So as we move across, we've actually caught this Skoda T-56 pulling across the open. It's like, hello, Mr. Skoda. Let me slap some shells into you. We're not simply clever anymore, are we? Sorry. So that's not good. Anyway, we're getting some shots into the side of this Skoda, and I want to try and shoot him down, because obviously it's got a big gun. It's got a big, big gun. And if he smacks us with that thing, it's going to hurt, especially when he's got two shots. We managed to get the shot in to finish him off because someone else slapped him. Now there's the other VZ-44-1 in front of us. I'm trying to go for his cupola, but unfortunately we end up just hitting the turret front, and that's what I mean by the turret being pretty decent. We've got 206 pen, and we bounced off it flat. It's not even that well angled, and we bounced off it flat, you know. But we go through the upper plate. And as I say, the upper plate can be a bit Swiss cheesy when you're facing the 200, 210 pen mark, you know. It's the turret that's about 230, 220 that can go through it fairly easily. So we shut down that VZ. Now there's 3 tanks left, well, 4 tanks left. There's a tank that's at E1, there's the medium tank at B1, and there's this TD and the other heavy tank. It's like, well, this AT7's stopping the other guys from progressing, so let's get a shot in behind him. We aim the shot, ends up going to the far left and ricocheting, because of course it does. Why wouldn't it? So this time we make sure the shot's fully aimed. We get the shot into the back of the AT7, and he gets shut down by Black Prince. We've now got the other VZ-44-1 in front of us. It's like, good night, sweet Prince, and he's gone. So there's only 1 tank left. It's the VZ-44-1 in the distance. But unfortunately, we're not going to get anywhere near it, because our team's enclosing, we're fairly slow, and everyone else has just far better angles than we do to get shots at him. Yeah, the VZ-44-1, it's a pretty damn solid tier 7 heavy tank. It does some things pretty well, it does some things pretty badly. That's what tier 7 heavy tanks do, and it's a pretty nice tank to grind through when you've got fully upgraded. It does have a 100mm gun that's decent as well, but this top gun is the king. We finished with 3 kills, 4k damage, 2k assistance, the ace tanker, high caliber, Confederate, 2.1k base XP. A really nice game for a tier 7 heavy tank. For a tank that's a really nice tank to grind, everyone's going to have fun with this. And yeah, Tier 8, Tier 9 and Tier 10 coming in the next following days. As always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!